Well, good afternoon folks, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to a pretty spectacular place here in Normandy. Didn't record any real footage as we were travelling mostly through Normandy, as we were visiting a lot of the war memorials, and I didn't think it was really appropriate to be videoing vlogs there. I did sort of recorded just a little bit of footage as we made our way down through. Now, we were in this area 2 or 3 days ago. Stunning location. Probably we parked up actually about 2 or 3 miles further north, and unfortunately the wind was absolutely buffeting. We didn't get much sleep that night. The wind was just crazy. I think it was the sort of the wider effects of the storm that moved through the UK. And the next morning we had some stunning light down by the little harbour, but it just was far, far, far too windy to be thinking about getting any camera out, especially this bad boy. So we actually have to stay in this area. For the next couple of days, or in and around this area. Some sort of paperwork, some logistical stuff to take care of. So I thought we'd come back up here. Now, as we were driving up, the weather was just atrocious. A real sort of foggy, windy, rainy moved in. I thought, oh no, not again. But then as we approached this little headland, it just kind of opened up. Now, I have never been here before, and we're parked up just over the headland there. And just as I sort of walked up across, it was just like, oh my goodness. So it's a couple of hours before sunset. And so I'm really just gonna probably very unlike my sort of photography, because I don't think there's going to be much in the intimate scene to be shot here. But when you're in a location like this, I guess it'd be rude not to in terms of shooting that wider scene. So I've actually gone ahead and shot a scene here, setting up with a 16:9 aspect ratio on the old Fuji GFX 50R. Oh, it feels good to say that. Out at 32mm, no great shakes, and just making use of that lovely light. And yeah, rather nice indeed. So what we'll do is we'll probably take a wander, say the coast path, as a coast path would do, meanders right the way along the coast. Now, we're going to stay up here this evening, so I might shoot the other way tomorrow morning. I don't really know I'm pretty sure we won't get much light in that way, but I haven't really sort of calculated it, but might as well sort of carry on going this way. Probably will end up focusing mostly, probably a lot of the images here are going to be very similar, because the focus is really going to be on this big cliff face and just some of those lovely rocks as the light sort of takes them. Now, I'm not sure whether I can get down onto this little beach down here, given the height and the lump back up again. I'm not sure I really want to, but no, stunning. Right, so I'll throw this image up that I've just made, and as always, we'll wander on. So I brought myself another 20 yards or so left, and again, because the sort of main vantage point here is such a big element in the frame, there's not actually going to be a huge amount of difference in the images I've realised. And the big issue is, as I move my way further left, I'm actually going to be shooting more into that bright sun. Now, as I said, we were about 2 hours away from sunset. We're about just over an hour and a half, an hour away. So that might soften a little bit. That would maybe allow me to shoot more into it. So I'm going to carry on. Maybe get up over the headland and see whether there's anything up over there worth shooting. But I think maybe as that sun starts to kind of get a little bit softer. Don't get me wrong. I do quite like the sort of effect of that sort of really sort of aquamarine water, the white waves that are sort of smoothed out because of by the way, that was a case polarizer and a case 10 stop on there, for those of you who like to know that kind of stuff. So it might actually be that as that sun starts to soften down, I might be able to bring a little bit more of the sun into the picture. But then again, there's nothing really kind of out there, so it might just be reshooting that same composition, just with softer light. Lips aren't working today. It's because I keep trying to speak French and do it very badly. Right, well, I'll throw this image up, and as always, we'll wander on. So I brought myself back around right. Nicola had actually gone ahead and taken a couple of kind of shots herself, and it doesn't look as though, it looks as though the headland kind of just meanders out and it's a little bit more sort of just sweeping down to the sea. So I brought myself back along to sort of another little jutty out bit, still obviously looking at the main bit of headland, which apparently is a bird reserve, forbidden access through there. Now, I don't think, in fact, I'm not going to even get the camera out for this particular shot. I might just make an iPhone image and throw it up. Basically, again, I've spoken about this many times before, the human brain is great at getting rid of distractions and things that we don't think work in a 2D image. And certainly right here, the immediate foreground right the way through to the midground is just very scruffy. Now, having said that, there looks to be quite a lot of gorse on this headland, so I can imagine it when it's fully in bloom, a big massive carpet of yellow. All of a sudden this would become potentially more of an interesting frame. There might also be the promise of kind of spring and summer wild flowers along here as well. Some thrift and things which actually might make for a nice image. But right now, as it stands, I just don't think I'd get it back onto the computer and I'd be like, you know what, 2/3 of that image is just wasted kind of scruffy space. And I'd want to kind of sort of crop it in a little bit. So I'm not even going to get the big boy out. But what an incredible place. Now that I've brought myself, oh, that's going to be way too bright for you guys. Now that I've brought myself to this little headland, I'm obviously starting to head back the other way. So I'm going to see whether there's anything over there. Obviously, this whole area is going to kind of get that lovely late evening casting light. So who knows, we might be able to find at least one more image before we wrap up shop. But beautiful. Right, let's dander on. Think it's a different day, different place, but I met Nicola there. She went the other way and said to me, no, it doesn't look like the path goes inland a bit. But I checked on Google Maps and it actually looked as though I was 11 minutes away from potentially getting down onto the beach. So I thought I would give it a whirl. And actually I also miscalculated sunset because sunset is still an hour and a half away, so I thought I would come down and see whether we can get access to the little bit of beach. This is still on the long distance path. I think it's the GR23 or the GR223. I'll throw that up. But at least I can start to hear the sea again, which is a good thing. Right, let's put you away. Ooh, and see whether we can get down onto the beach. Well, I made it down onto the beach and I'm now questioning that 30-minute walk, not least, but I'm going to have to do it back again and it's all uphill. So it's about an hour now from sunset, and it's one of those situations where this is such a big, vast place that it's just going to be very difficult to find anything. And I'm now cursing my decision to come down here, because even though it would have been a similar shot to what I'd shot before, I think the light on that cliff would have been really nice. Now, what may save the day is you can probably hear me walking over some pretty sizable boulders, and there might be a little intimate shot to be had, maybe with a little bit of light or something. But oh yeah, I think I'm questioning my judgment here, but because yeah, it was about a half an hour walk and that was mostly downhill, and now I've got a walk back again unless I break my ankle first. Beautiful beach though, stunning. Well, beautiful bit of pebble. The actual beachy bit is, oh, let me just rock you around, on round this way. And in fact, just round this headland here is a lighthouse, and where we were a couple of days ago, and where I may be tomorrow. But anyway, let's see whether I can find at least one shot here in this beach to see whether we can make it worthwhile. So as I thought, pretty challenging. Now don't get me wrong, it's stunning. And of course, with all of these coloured pebbles below my feet, and textures and nooks and crannies and colour, you know, you could probably just point the medium format down at them and make a nice image. But I'm actually looking for something, or I was looking for something that just sort of breaks up the uniform pattern of those pebbles, if there is such a thing as uniform pattern with pebbles. And it's below here. It sort of caught my eye. There's a crack running through. I actually had spotted another rock up the way that was sort of cracked through, and I was trying to make a sort of composition with it, but it wasn't really working. So just below me here. Now again, no great shakes, I don't think, with the image, but I was really looking for something that, as I say, just broke up that uniformity. So I've just got it in the regular 4x3 composition. I'll probably try a square crop as well in that, and just see whether I can maneuver in such a way that there's a pleasing sort of flow to those outer stones. So, but yeah, I wish I'd been here 3 or 4 hours beforehand, just to really sort of wander up and down the beach, and not with less than sort of an hour before sunset. Anyway, let's see whether we can make something of this. So I've actually gone back to the wider scene. The light is stunning, and I think I would be amiss not to try to make an image of it. Now, the sun, it looks like we might have a little bit of clearance right the way down to the horizon. Right now, the sun is just gone behind a little sliver of a cloud. So I've set the camera up again, pointing back out, obviously not shooting into the sun, pointing back out towards the headland where I was a couple of days ago. And I just love some of the patterns on these rocks below my feet. So that's kind of what we're playing with. So a more regular sort of standard shot than the intimate one. As much as I would love to spend time looking for the little intimate sort of abstracty scenes here, I just don't have the time. So I guess it's revert to form. I think as well I can see either Guernsey or Jersey out there. It's definitely one of the two of them, or so says my BT mobile, because it keeps sort of jumping between, you're in France, you're in Jersey, you're in France, you're in Jersey. Anyway, another 30 seconds, maybe a minute. That sun should dip behind, and then we'll make an image. Well, apologies for the audio quality here. I'm sure there's some wind noise, but I haven't got time to get the main vlogging camera out. As you can see, the light is stunning, but it's one of those instances where I'm running about and rushing, and it doesn't feel... So, anyway, we'll catch up when the sun goes down. I'll carry on running about like a headless chicken. In fact, I think the sun is going to disappear behind the cloud before sunset. But in fact, it's starting to go already. Right, we put you away, see whether I can get one more image, and then I'll get right back to you. Oh guys, that sun has indeed dipped behind quite a heavy bank of cloud. We're still, what, about 25 minutes away from sunset, but I doubt whether that's coming back out again. Frustrating, I think, is the word to describe that. But as I keep reminding myself, an absolute privilege to be standing here. So I'll take some heart from that. Just not enough time really to really do this beach justice, as is quite often the case when you're moving on from place to place. I thought I would just sort of get a wider view just as that sort of light was casting across those rocks, but the composition felt very rushed. So I think all it will really be a record of the place more than anything. The first images that I made up on the headland probably are going to be my favourite, but again, nothing sort of too dramatic about the image itself. It's just a record of a very beautiful place, and I don't believe the little intimate shot that I got really does it justice either, but that's okay. That's okay. Still gorgeous to be out. Still an absolute privilege to be out on a beach like this with a big medium format bad boy, and just zooming in on some of those little textured shots on the pebbles, I'm like, oh, that's rather nice indeed. Right guys, well, I am going to now make the rather arduous climb back up the hill. It's probably about a half an hour walk back to the van. Now say we are staying in this area tonight, but I think tomorrow I'm going to head back over to the Little Headlands. It's meant to be a bit more overcast tomorrow morning, but I'm going to head back over to the Little Headlands where it was very windy the other day, but I guess that will be a video for next week. Right, well once again guys, thanks a lot for following along, and until next time on our little bimbles through France, au revoir, bonne journée, bonne nuit. Oh, getting there. See you later. Bye bye.